Another live. Just gonna get my mic turned around here. Make sure this thing's working correctly. Anyway, we're gonna talk today about businesses will leave America. Like I fully believe this. If these tariffs come into play and it gets harder to bring in cheap products from abroad, American companies will not stay in America. There is no allegiance to America. That I fully believe at this point. As a small business owner, I've been in business for about 8 years. Like I've seen the writing on the wall. Like there is zero allegiance to America from these countries. The only reason they stay here is because it's the perfect place for a company to exist. And America was founded on people being able to come here, do their own thing, and basically prosper based on their drive, their ideas, their innovation, how hard they worked, all these kind of things. There's a lot of factors, and the freedom that we have here to produce, right? We can do anything here, which is what makes it so great. And I feel that these companies, since they're so internationally established, it doesn't matter where they operate. They don't need the infrastructure of America. Infrastructure in a lot of these other countries is fantastic. They don't need the logistics anymore. The logistics have been perfected by countries like China and Europe, and transcontinental shipping lanes are amazing, right? There's no issues there anymore. And these countries, just the only reason they stay here is because of the tax advantages that America has. It's a relatively low tax country, whereas if you go to Europe, much more higher corporate taxes. You go to China, it's a little bit different there. It's a whole different system there, but I believe that a country would simply just incorporate another country, especially a place like Ireland. It's very well known for having a very low corporate tax rate. Even places like the Bahamas, and this is where these people would operate, and they would just simply, move all their operations out, and basically displace anybody that's working here and go to the work elsewhere, because they've just automated things so much. There's no need for American labor anymore in these cheap countries. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Sorry guys, I got a tickle in my throat. The other thing is that it's time to start a business now, right? And the truth is that working for other companies, especially these really large companies, is going to put you at risk of being laid off, of being rifted, whatever you want to call it, let go. And it's just, if you can find a way to start your own thing, it's going to help to basically mitigate what's coming down the pipeline. I think, again, I'm no expert. Like I said, I'm just some dummy that runs a wood shop here in St. Louis, Missouri. And I think that we're going to really find out who's patriotic, who's really all in on America, and who's all in on making money, and that's like America has basically set the stage for the rest of the world. We've helped everybody escape poverty. Everybody has risen with America, and you guys can disagree with me, but I don't know where everyone's at. But the truth is that as we have spread out all of the manufacturing and all of the innovation across the world, it's lifted all the boats, right? Believe it or not, all the trade routes in America or in the world are protected by the American Navy, right? We protect all the trade routes over to Europe, around China, over to Japan. All these places are protected by the American Navy, So the fact that America has created all this stuff, created these trade routes, sent all the innovation across the world, America's due a little bit of latitude here in what's going on, and the people are due a little bit of latitude with what's going on right now. And I don't know if we're going to get it, but if you can have your own business and you can start something on the side, it's really going to help you, I think, to not be so affected by things. Like, they say diversify, right? Like don't put all your money in stocks and cash. You want a little bit of gold. You might want a little crypto at this point. Like you want some kind of a side gig, I think. And woodworking, low barrier to entry, fantastic way to make money. There's always a need for people that can make shit. And it's really important if you can do it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm talking about woodworking. We talk about painting. We talk about all facets of business, starting businesses. And I just answer questions, and I just pick a topic and I talk about it, and I can show people my shop, which is generally what I do on Fridays. We talk about, what went well, what didn't go well. I'll show you guys all the furniture, the pretty painted furniture, the stained furniture, all the things that we got, and it's a real business. It's just some normal Joe that runs a company, and I think it's good. I think it's fantastic to talk to people that are, we're all kind of normies, I think, and I think it's just good to talk to everyone and just kind of show them that, you can do this kind of stuff. It's not, you don't have to have some, crazy degree, you don't have a bunch of money. It just takes time and kind of a stick-to-itiveness, right? You just got to keep going and bash your head through walls and you'll get there, So So that's kind of our topic for today. I think it's really important for people to try and do their own thing. It's going to get harder and harder to work for other businesses, I think. And truth is that as AI comes in, as innovation comes in, the innovation is going to be automation, and that automation is going to make it much harder for people to work for these companies. So they're very quick to outsource people if they can, in order to keep their fiduciary responsibility to their stockholders in play, which is all they really care about. So the other thing is, if someone might have to remind me on this, but design is also the thing that can keep you ahead of the curve, right? If you have a really good design, a really good aesthetic, a brand that people really like, it's going to make you more valuable than everybody else. Because truth is that most people can make anything. What's really hard to do is to design stuff, right? To come up with things that people really think are cool looking, to come up with things that are kind of innovative in the technology space, in the, like I said, designing furniture, come up with new ways to use materials like brass and lacquer and walnut and carbon fiber and all these different kinds of materials. Like, these are ways that you can move ahead of other people if you want to start your own company, if you want to do your own thing. Learning how to do this kind of stuff, the design side, is a fantastic way to beat all this stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about. I know it's kind of a long opening start. I got my beer today. That's good. It's warm today. We got fantastic weather here in St. Louis. It's like perfect. But it's warm because it's been so damn cold and just terrible. All right, so what's going to happen, right? Like, I think we're hearing that these tariffs are coming in, and people are going to. Well, actually, here, let's go through the comments real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all those kind of things. Add the discussion. Let me know where you're at. Let me know where I'm right. Let me know where I'm wrong. Let's make this thing happen. Okay, we got Rizwan in here. What's up, Rizwan? Good to see you. We got David Surya. Hey, sir, send me a greeting. I'm like a Coey. I don't know what the hell that means, but David, glad you're here. I appreciate it, man. Say, good. Yeah, add to the discussion. And see, David Surya's got all kinds of things to say. We got, who else we got here? Okay, so we got Sriza. Okay, so, all right. Keep this thing going. So I'm glad everyone's here. Like I said, hit the like button, guys. So truth is that there's a real lack of respect for America and what America's done, and especially with these big companies. Again, they've kind of lost the need for America as the rest of the world has started to become more like America in many ways. These companies, they can kind of just go wherever they want, and it's a damn shame, because this is the place that started it all. And the truth is that as these companies want to leave or they want to move stuff around, the working with your hands is going to become way more valuable than it's been, right? This idea of being a knowledge worker, a psychologist, all these different kind of jobs that we were told in '08 were going to be the things of the future, right? Go get your college degree and you're going to become a psychologist. You're going to make $150,000 a year and everything's going to be great. You're going to work 40 hours a week. You're going to go on vacations all the time. You're going to have a McMansion. Like, none of that shit happened. and now all those people are asking for bailouts, right? They all want their loans paid off, and they're pissed off because they can't make the money they thought they were going to make. And anyway, most of us knew what was happening. My dad knew this stuff was going to happen in the 90s, which is really funny. But anyway, so there's no loyalty to the people here. There's no loyalty to the customer base here in America. These people are just going to move around, and that's fine. If you have your own business and you get that thing going here in the near term, within the next year or two, if you have a brand, if you have something online, you make a cool piece of furniture, just say you got a paint service, right? You're painting houses, you paint cars, whatever it might be, you're in the car repair business, those things are become super valuable, because truth is that all these people that took all these college jobs, they're all in trouble. They're all basically going to have to go get retrained, because their jobs aren't going to be valuable anymore, and they're not going to be able to pay for the increased, cost of living that we all kind of see coming down the pipeline. So you need to make something, right? Whether it's finding a space in your garage that you can work in, or you got a buddy who's got a building, maybe get some space in a building. You need to start learning to make stuff, and you need to start working on cars. Learning to be a handyman. Like, freaking handyman is an amazing job. Like, I kind of wish I had actually started to be a handyman. I never really thought about it much, but people always need stuff fixed. Like, it's amazing how many times. So here's some stories, okay? So truth is that when my furniture is being delivered, like, the furniture gets delivered all over the country. Honestly, I don't deliver anything. I rarely deliver a piece of furniture because I got people that do that for me. It's not, I don't want to deliver furniture, to be quite honest with you. I just want to make furniture. I want to run my company. But when I do deliver furniture, or when something goes wrong, like I've had legs break, maybe a door doesn't work, or there's paint chipping, something like that, something that somebody else can't fix, I'll go fix it, or maybe I'm the only one that's available. Like, I'll go jump on it. And I would say 60% of the time, the homeowner will ask me to do something else. They'll see that I got a bag of tools, I got some drills, chisels, wrenches, whatever, glues, some rattle cans of paint, like sandpaper. These are things I kind of keep in my tool bag when I'm going around and fixing things. The truth is that they'll always ask me to do something. Oh, I got a leak in my faucet. I've had people, we got this cabinet that we really need screwed against the wall, and we can't get anyone to come over and screw the cabinet to the wall. Like, people, this is where our society has become, right? And I don't know if it's just the customer that I serve that buys expensive furniture, but they don't do any work on their house. Like, all these people do is knowledge work, and that's great. So there's a massive opportunity. If you're a handyman, if you're a carpenter, any of these kind of things, like, there's tons of people that need this kind of work. It's like I go to houses and I get people that want me to adjust kitchen cabinet doors, that want me to, they've got a drawer that's broken, they want me to look at slides. It's like I'm a freaking furniture maker. Like, I make all your furniture here, and then I deliver it, to your house, or somebody delivers it, and you want me to go fix, some other thing in your home. Like, I've had people say they have leaky faucets, and just because I'm there, fixing a piece of furniture that I built, they want me to go do this other thing. And most of the time I say, no, that's not my thing. But there have been times where I'm just like, yeah, I'll take care of that. I got customers that are like, bought like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces from me. It's like they want me to, look at a faucet in their house. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it, because they're great customers, but there's a lot of opportunity to make money here in America if you're willing to put yourself out there. Like, you can charge $50 an hour, $75 an hour as a handyman, or someone that, like, there's so many houses today that have like rotted sills, and they've got, doors that are, need to be planed down. Like, there are just a ton of opportunities. So this is why I kind of titled this thing, like, these businesses are going to leave, guys. Like, I firmly believe that American businesses, especially the bigger ones, are going to leave America. Right? They don't want to deal with the instability. They don't like the idea that America is a special place and you need to pay to work here, right? Like, you don't just get to write the rules of the road like they've done for the last 30 years. You don't just get to have all the cheapest labor from around the world to line your pockets and line your shareholders' pockets, without paying the people that live here. So I think that these people are going to leave. And it's again, it might not be a popular opinion. It's kind of wild. I say I don't have a ton of people watching right at the moment, and that's fine. It's not every topic is going to resonate with people. But that's what I think is going down, is coming down the pipeline. So, all right, take a look at the comments. We got the Bike Art. You got an amazing workshop. Love it. Yeah, thanks, Bike Art. Yeah, I've got, this is just the wood shop side. So what I got behind me is basically where we do all the mill work, whenever we have to, cut out panels, do all your dados and, shaper stuff and planer stuff. It's all your heavy kind of mill shop type work. And that's what we'll do in here. And then on the other side over here is kind of where we do all the assemblies. So right now I've got a couple of dressers over there that I'm assembling, and I've got parts for credenzas and just all kinds of stuff. Yeah, different kinds of credenzas actually. But yeah, it's a good shop, and it's a lot of work, and it's you can see right now it's completely trashed, and that's what a wood shop is. It's like, it's very, very rarely do I come in here and just like clean all the time. Like, I might clean this place once a week if I'm lucky. Like, it's impossible to keep it all clean. We're just ripping out so much stuff, and anyway, so yeah, I appreciate that. It's a good shop, and we got the paint shop down there. And if you guys have followed me at any point in time, you'll know on Fridays I show everyone the shop. Like, we walk all the way down to the other side of the building where all the pictures are taken. We go to the other side. It's basically a big horseshoe, right? We got a big U shape, and we got the final assembly over this way. We got the paint shop back this way, and then we got the wood shop and the assembly shop over here, and sanding's way down at the end of the building as well. So there's a lot of like departments here, and it's a small company. I got 7 employees, and it's just basic business. There's not much to it, and this is why I do these talks. Like, more people can have these kind of businesses, and this is what we need in America. If we're gonna beat the high price of everything, and we're gonna beat large corporations dictating all the regulations and the way that we're allowed to operate as business owners, we need more companies, right? We need more people that just want to have 10 employees, right? They don't want to, 1,000 employees and to be a CEO. They just want to start a business and pass it down to their kids, or maybe, sell it to one of their employees. Like, we need more of that if we're going to have a little more say in how we're regulating. Because truth is that my business is heavily regulated, and I follow as many of the regulations as I can. But truth is like, you can't hire people. You can't ask people the questions you want to ask them. You can't say things to certain people. A lot of people are protected. When you have a facility, you've got a lot of OSHA regulations, about, what kind of safety equipment is supposed to be on your tools, hearing protection, eye protection, the bubble wrap that we basically have to have, how much dust can be in your shop. As a paint company, it's completely crazy because, you've got all kinds of, you've got different kinds of, fire suppression systems that you have to have. You have to have certain kinds of blower motors, exhaust motors, and all that stuff has to be certified. And there's just a lot of work to owning a company, and it didn't used to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Truth is, you used to be able to go start a company anywhere you want and just get after it. You shouldn't have to worry about, am I compliant? Like, that's one of the things that really needs to stop. And maybe if we get some of these companies to leave, maybe we can change that. So I don't know, but anyway, so the one of the things that a lot of these businesses are going to have to kind of grapple with is the idea that if you're not in America, well, what does that mean, right? So take a company like 3M. If 3M decided that they wanted to leave America because they can't get all their shit from Canada and they can't get it all from China, they have to make it here. And 3M is a fantastic company. I'm just picking on them because I see their products all over my shop. But if they decided that they wanted to leave, the question is well, what kind of access to the American market would they have, right? And truth is these companies have been able to operate anywhere in the world they want and then utilize the safe space here in America, right? Because everything they do is protected here by our tort law, right? Like, you can't steal IP here. You can't, you can't steal trade secrets. There's consequences for a lot of things, right? We have very good protections on our property, a lot of property rights here. And of course we have like the different kinds of amendments, right? Which protect businesses and people. And it's very important that we have those things. But if that company left, right, they'd have to think about these things like market access, infrastructure, domestic incentives, and global trade dynamics, things like that. So it would be a little complicated for them. But I still think that if tariffs come into play and you start demanding a little bit more of the pie from these large corporations, that they would leave. They don't want to give anybody any of that money. It's like, if you're not a shareholder or a C-suite executive, they want nothing to do with you. And they're able to do that because of the way they're able to outsource things. And America makes it too easy. And so we're seeing changes right now, and I think it's a good thing. Like, as a furniture maker here in America, we make all of our stuff in America. Our paint is sourced in America. Our plywoods are sourced in America. Our hardwoods are all sourced in America. Most of our hardware is sourced in America. Not all of it, most of it, and it's a fantastic business, right? All of our vehicles are American made. They run on American fuel, and we sell right here in America. We don't do a ton of exporting, right? And we would, but it's just too damn complicated. And truth is that my $8,000 credenza, by the time it gets over to Europe, it's going to be $12,000 by the time they pay the tariffs and all the fees that they have to pay to get my furniture there. Meanwhile, I could buy a credenza from Europe and there's almost no tariff on it, right? And it's super easy to get it in here. And truth is if you're an American manufacturer, and especially a small business, that is not fair, right? So we don't have the access to these foreign markets that a lot of other companies have. And it shouldn't necessarily be that way. I can't afford to have a factory in Europe, right, to make stuff for Europeans. But again, Europeans don't have to have a factory here. Their shit can come in here. It's just fine. And there's a very low tariff on it. When I bring my hardware in from India, they pay 2%. It's only 2%. Meanwhile, if I want to make hardware or furniture and send it over to India, you're looking at something, depending on what it is, but you're probably looking at something like 30% in order to get it over there. And the truth is that when you want to get something from America into another country, they don't have the logistics that we have here in America. It's not set up. Their stuff is set up to come to America, not to receive stuff from America. It's very different. So as someone that exports and imports, it's not equal, and this is the big thing that I really want people to understand is here in America, we have it so good that we don't understand how much we're not, I don't want to say taken advantage of. It's not these countries are not taking advantage of America. The companies here in America are taking advantage of America by outsourcing all the work to these other countries and then charging us American prices for it. And then giving the excess, the profit from overcharging Americans to their shareholders, right? And since shareholders are generally going to be wealthier people, they're buying up all the assets. These would be the homes, right? And we're seeing the cost of housing is through the roof. No one can afford a fucking house anymore. And the truth is that when they outsource all that stuff, they bring it back into America, sell it at American prices, right? Pocket that money, give it to their shareholders, and then they go buy all the assets. You can't afford nothing anymore, you know? So this is how the game is played. And this is one of the things that I think this administration is trying to change. You know, they want the worker to get a little bit more of the access to a piece of that pie. That's what I think. You know, and I could be way off. Like, guys, like I'm just, like I said, a dumb guy who's got a little business here in St. Louis and just trying to make furniture, you know, and I get to work with my wife, which I really like. And, you know, I got great employees here, you know, most of them worked for me for a long time, and it's a great company. I want more people to be able to do that, you know, so I hope that people can kind of understand that and see the passion and see the emphasis on starting a business and getting something going here in America for yourself, because it's going to make it so much easier for you in the next 3 to 5 years when these companies decide they don't want to be here anymore, you know, because it's just not going to work for them with the way that the tariff situation would work. So I hope that kind of makes sense to people. And again, we got some comments coming in here. I hope everybody again kind of sees what's going on here. It's going to be tough, you know. So, you know, we're going to have to endure a little bit of pain, to be quite honest with you. And I don't know if we can do it. Like, that's a scary thing. Like, a lot of these countries, they don't have the same kind of system we have here in America. They just have to wait us out until a more favorable administration comes in, and then everything goes back to the way that it's been. You know, this is the first time that we've really seen what a change could look like. You know, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. The point is that when you see a real change, it lets you know where you've been. You know, and I don't think we've been able to do that for a long time. So I don't necessarily know that it's going to be good, but I do like the fact we have a change. So, okay, Nobody's Committee says something. Welcome, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. Activate the notification bells to indulge in more exquisite content. Well, thank you, Nobody. I appreciate that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's exquisite. Like, I just know that it's a business, guys. Like, it is a freaking business, and it's not. There's no. I'm not a genius. I'm not special. Like, I grew up in Oregon, you know, on a 7-acre plot of land. We had a small trailer on there, and my family had a wood shop, and it was just a middle class living. It wasn't great. It wasn't, you know, bad. It was just I think kind of an average life. And once 9/11 happened, like, all the money dried up. Everyone stopped spending. It changed everything. And my family business was crushed, because the truth is that we made furniture for the local municipalities, right? School district, fire department, police department, like the city council and the city hall and stuff like that. And yeah, it just died up. So I had to go find a new job. You know, and truth is that I was looking on Yahoo, you know, for what I could do, and people were looking. There was a company in Kansas that was looking for people that had experience with laminate, you know, and everyone calls it Formica, but it was, you know, it's just laminate. It's the hard, you know, everyone knows what laminate is. But anyway, yeah, I took a job and moved out to Wichita, and I worked for this company called Baumhoff, and within 3 months they laid everybody off. Like, oh shit, you know. So that kind of sucked, you know. And then I found another company called Global Engineering and Technology. Those guys were hired. They were, again, looking for people with laminate work. And because the inside of all the furniture in jets in the 90s and in the early 2000s, they covered it all with laminate. It was all laminate. You know, they do laminate on the inside, veneer on the outside, and then they clear coat all the veneer and make it nice and glossy. And it was really cool. But anyway, so I worked for them for like 11 years, and that was great. And then went to Oklahoma, and then to Savannah, Georgia, and then up here to St. Louis, Missouri, and every opportunity I got, I tried to start a company. I tried to get the woodworking thing going. People would see me, you know, doing the woodworking thing and trying to, you know, get the business going. You know, making aquarium cabinets, you know, making kitchen cabinets, making whatever literally my garage. Like, it's a 2-car garage in Wichita, and that's all I did. I mean, just always making shit. And eventually people start asking, what are you doing there? Hey, it's kind of interesting. You know, I got this thing, I need this. And it's literally that simple. And some people think that it's kind of bullshit, but it's not. Like, it's done just like that. And had I known what I know now about advertising and marketing, like I think I would have been successful in Kansas. And that's one of the things I do in these casts is I tell you guys, like, literally start in your garage. You can totally do it. Find a buddy's garage. Find any space you can to do some work. And before you know it, people will see you. And it doesn't matter if you're in a residential area, a commercial area, an industrial area. Like I get people here, and this is in an industrial area, fucking asking me all the time, what are you doing? What's this company do? Oh my God, you make this kind of stuff? That's pretty cool. I got this thing. What do you think about this? Or hey, I need someone to fix this. And it starts a conversation, guys. Like it's that simple. And if you have a website and you know something about marketing and advertising, you know, you can make it happen. And it's not that hard, you know, and it just takes time, you know, and it takes consistency, which I think a lot of people struggle with the consistency side of things. They don't see a result, and it gets a little frustrating, and you're like, I'm doing all this work, not getting anything out of it. And anyway, it's just like anybody can do this stuff. But if things go the way I think they're going, you know, and you have less of these large companies wanting to employ people here in America, people are going to need work, you know, and it's going to lead to less sales, and it's going to lead to less everything. But being able to work with your hands has always been valuable. It's like gold. Gold has always had value, and working with your hands has always been valuable, especially when the economy starts to move down, you know. And I don't know if it'll move down. I'm not going to be a doomer here, but truth is that it very well could. But working with your hands always been valuable. Okay, a few more comments here. All right, so we got Ian here. Ian saying, "Hi, yep, good to see you, Ian." And again, nobody, I appreciate it. You guys hit the like button, hit the add to the comments. And it's good for the algorithm, right? I told you before, I'm trying to grow this thing. I got to get 3,000 watch hours this year. I think I'm at like, 1,020, you know? So basically got to get like 8 hours a day is kind of what it boils down to. And I think I'm on pace to get there. I could probably do it. But I want to get this thing monetized, right? Another revenue stream. I talk about revenue streams. Like, don't grow revenue streams, right? It's very different. But anyway, I get to that 3,000 hour mark, we can monetize this thing, and then I'll start giving people the back end of the business, right? Numbers, profit and loss statements, talk about being sued, lawyers, you know, customer issues, dealing with the back end of what it means to run a company, all the paperwork and all the vendor issues and stuff that I don't normally talk about too much. That's what I want to do. That's kind of my goal, you know, if anyone's interested, okay? So, okay, I see Adam's here. Hi, Master. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Okay, are you a carpenter? No, it's funny. People call me a carpenter all the time, and I don't mind. Here's my spiel on being a carpenter, okay? A carpenter takes his work to the job site, right? A cabinet maker or a furniture maker, the work comes to me, to my shop, right? So that's the only difference, right? Can I go to the job site and build cabinets? Sure. Can I go to the job site and do whatever needs to be? Absolutely. I go install my cabinets. I can build cabinets. You know, there's plenty of tools. But truth is that I like to do things in my shop, right? I like my work to come to me. The plywood comes to me. The hardwood comes to me. All the hinges, the drawer slides, all that shit comes to me. And that's how I like it. You know, a furniture maker has his own space, right? A carpenter has his own tools. You know, so a little bit different, but you know, they're very similar. And truth is like a carpenter in my mind is way more skilled than what I do, like as being a cabinet maker, furniture maker, whatever you want to call it. Like those guys, to have to go out to a job and to have all this stuff that you need and build something or fix something or do whatever you got to do is, I think, way harder than here. Because truth is, like, if I don't have something, I just go to the store and buy it, bring it back here, and then I have it forever. You know, I don't have to think about what I need to do. It's just, I could literally do anything in my shop because I have every tool, I have every jig, I have everything I could possibly need because I've done it for so long, you know. So as a carpenter, it's almost like you got a plan for every job. And you know, I have mad respect to carpenters. I just I like those people a lot. And it's yeah, every time I got to do carpenter, I just hang my head in shame because I just dread it. It's horrible. So yeah, and Adam, I guess I would ask you the same thing. Like, what do you do? Are you a carpenter? Are you in the trades? Do you work with your hands? You know, are you what do you got going on, man? Where are you at? Because like everyone does, you know, different stuff. I'm always curious what people are doing in their life. It's I think there's a lot of people that want to work with their hands. They want to own their businesses, or they want to work for themselves. You know, and that's kind of what we talk about, right? We talk about the current events of life, but then we also talk about like how can you do this yourself? And it's really hard, you know, but it's worth it, you know. And again, when I was titled this thing, you know, American companies are not going to stay here. Like, there's no allegiance to America, and it's a good opportunity for you to start your own business. And here's another thing to think about: when things get how do I say this? When more things become automated, right? When more things are done by a machine or in a factory, or things are what I would say is homogenized, right? Homogenize is the word that I would use. As more of that stuff starts to happen, and you end up with more people on like the design side or on the marketing side, you end up with less people that actually do the work, right? And the truth is that when you take the time to make something by hand in a world where more things are automated, your product becomes more valuable, right? It's a little bit counterintuitive, right? You would think, well, no, the people that make stuff by hand, like they're no longer going to exist because there's a machine that can do it. And the truth is that yes, there's always a machine to do something, but as more things become automated and more things become computer designed, the person that can design their own furniture and then make it, or can whatever, design a cabinet, design a coffee table, whatever it might be, and then actually make it, becomes super valuable, right? Because then you're getting into like the custom and the one-off type stuff. And the truth is there's less and less people to do that stuff because everyone's doing everything that's automated, right? Everyone's getting a college degree, everyone's, jumping into psychology and gender studies and wants to be an engineer, right? And the people that make stuff, it becomes more valuable, and that's a good thing, So again, that's why I tell people, like, think about starting your own business, build a website, learn about advertising and marketing. If you've got questions about advertising and marketing, hit me up. I'll talk about it. It's not that complicated. It's a little intimidating at times, but once you figure it out, it's fantastic. But you can parlay that into getting one sale, right? It might be you spend, if you got just a basic website, spend, whatever, 20, 30 hours, getting your content put up there. You could use Squarespace. You can use, I think Wix is another one. There's all kinds I use Shopify, but spend 20, 30 hours and get some nice pictures of your work, talk about yourself, talk about what it is that you do, make a nice banner, get on Canva, learn how to make a nice banner, get it put on your website, and you're in business, make sure your number's on there, you got an address, make it look nice, and people will call you. Like it's it's literally that simple. Spend a little bit of money on Meta ads, which is your Facebook and your Instagram. Maybe learn a little about Google ads and spend a little bit of money there, maybe $100 a month. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but you do got to spend something, right? And that stuff will start to build on itself, and in, the first 3 months, you might not see a ton of activity, but then you might get a hit, in 6 months, and it turns into 2 hits, and then it's 4 hits, and then it's 8 hits. And eventually, you've got a client list that's a mile long that will keep you in business when the economy craters, right? Or when shit goes sideways. You have this whole list of people that will utilize your service or have utilized your service over the years. They will keep you in business, So it's not that complicated, but it does take work. And again, I say that as someone who, I've done this for 20 years, and the advertising market side, I just could never figure it out. Everyone always talked to me about it, and I just never saw the value in it until I met my wife. And now I kind of understand it, which is again why I'm talking about this. Sometimes it's not the message, but more the messenger, right? Like you can hear the same information forever, but you hear it from the right person in the right way, and then suddenly it kind of sinks in. So that's kind of why I do this. Like maybe, people can understand the way that I say it as opposed to someone on, whatever, Facebook or Instagram trying to sell you marketing, classes or something. So, okay, more, all right, bro, do you need an assistant? I'm always needing an assistant. I tell people that if you ever come to St. Louis, come in the shop. It's the only building with a pink door. So you got to just walk in the pink door, and here we are. It's big, about 12,000 square feet, and it's a full factory, and we paint furniture, we make furniture, and I tell anybody, come on in. I'll show you what we do, I'll show you how we paint the furniture, how we make the furniture, all this kind of stuff, where we shoot all the videos, where we do all the pictures. It's not that, but an assistant would be great, especially someone to help out on the video side. Like, how much video I have to shoot. It'd be great to have someone that knew something about video or wanted to be a cameraman, or someone that wanted to learn how to make furniture, was willing to, breathe some dust, listen to some noise, hear a little profanity, it's like, it's okay to work in those kind of environments. And a lot of people just don't want to work in those environments, So if there was somebody out there that lived in the St. Louis area, wanted to walk in and needed a job, I'm always up to listen to anybody. How many people I've hired that have just walked in, best furniture maker I ever hired, literally walked in off the street looking for a job, So Yeah, and that's the great thing about being a small business is that you can give people those opportunities. You can. It feels good to give people an opportunity to better their situation in life, and we need more people like that. Like you can't just walk over to, pick your big company. Like I don't know, like even. I'm kind of drawing a blank now, but I just pick any kind of large company. Like you're not just going to walk in there and ask for a job. They're not going to know who to tell you to go talk to even ask for a job. You always have to apply online, right? And then they're going to filter you out because you don't have the right experience, or you don't have the degree they want, or you're got too many jobs, or whatever. I mean, point is that you're not going to get the opportunity. Whereas on a small business, you just walk in and ask for a freaking job, and people will be apt to hire you, if you're willing to work cheap enough, depending on what your experience is. Everybody has to start cheap, and that's just kind of how it is. Unless you've got some crazy resume and you can produce what you say you can produce, you're worth your money. That's a good thing. But truth is that most people can't. So anyway, point is, Adam, if somebody wanted to walk in, you wanted to walk in and ask for a job, like depending on what you do, what kind of skill set you have, what you're able to provide to the business, would dictate what we would pay you. I'm always open to anything, to be quite honest with you. I love giving people jobs. It's tough to hire good people. So truth is that businesses let go of more people than they hire because I wouldn't say you're always cycling through people, but truth is that most people today aren't very good employees. And most people, again, think that they are, but the truth is that they're not. And I'm telling you that as just like a normie dude who just works all the time. Like people are not as employable as they used to be. People have a lot of expectations about how the company should treat them, with no expectation of how they should what they should bring to the company. It's a very weird dynamic. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that. But we got 36 minutes. Okay, one more beer. We'll go through more comments. Okay, so, sorry, Adam, see what we got. My profession is installing household machines and equipment. Household machines and equipment. So I'm kind of wondering what that means. So is that like washing machines and dishwashing machines, HVAC? I'm kind of curious what that, vacuum systems. I'm kind of curious tell me what it is that what you do exactly. And Adam, where are you? That's a whole other thing. I mean, people do all kinds of stuff, and people change careers all the time. And I'm here to tell you that it's a big mistake. You need to, that's what Adam says. Oh, Azerbaijan. Oh, right on, man. That's really cool. My like I said, the best cabinet maker I ever hired, he still works for me part-time, was from Syria, so that neck of the woods. Good dude, those people over there have an amazing talent for carving and for fine handwork, which is really cool. He was telling me that the front doors are like a big deal over there, and that people spend massive amounts of money to make beautiful front doors to their properties, to their houses and things like that. And he would show me pictures of all the stuff that he had carved and made. And it was he did a lot of work in Jordan. And interesting place, interesting people. So it's people have to be very careful when they do a lot of job hopping, and I see a lot of that today. Like I said, I've hired and fired a ton of people in my 8 years, and I see more and more people with a lot of jobs on their resumes, and not along, like they don't stay at their job very much, so they kind of hop around, right? And that's kind of like a red flag for a person not being very employable, and that's fine. It's not that everyone is a bad hire if they have a ton of jobs. Maybe they just didn't find the right job, maybe they had some bad circumstance or whatever. But the truth is that most of them just aren't that employable. And so people need to get into jobs fairly early in life. And I think I get myself in trouble here. People need to get into trades and jobs that they want to do fairly young in life, so they can kind of really get their 10,000 hours in early, right? It takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything, which is a good 5 years, if you really want to put it in terms of years. And you got a lot of people kind of flopping around. Like a lot of people, they spend a ton of time going to school, and then they get out of school and they realize they don't like the job that they do, because what they're training to do in school is nothing like the real world. It's nothing like the job that they're going to end up doing. And it just ends up being a shit show. And then they move around to some other kind of profession, which doesn't pay as much. And then they're saddled with debt, and they can't pay their car payment, their house payment, and they have to start over, and it makes them cynical. and it makes it hard for them to get where they want to be in life or where they think they should be in life. And we end up with a lot of people that are really freaking pissed off at their lot in life, you know. So I hope that people, especially if you got kids or you got people that that kind of look up to you, you need to. Okay, I'm just gonna say, you need to do something that you would want your kids to do, right? If you're one of these people that thinks, oh, my kids are gonna do better than me, I think that's a bad thing, you know, and people need to do things that they want their kids to do. And I don't care if you're a young person, you have no kids and you're not liking what it is that you do. Like if you have to, I tell people all the time, move home, go to work for somebody making no money. If you got to come to someone like me and say, I got no experience, I'll work for $7.25 an hour. I just want to learn how to make furniture. Like that's what you need to do, you know. And I don't, even if you got kids, like get out of what it is that you're doing. If you don't want your kids to do that thing, you don't think it's a good, respectable job, don't do it. Move home, take your kids home, take your wife home, take your husband home, whatever you got to do, but go find the thing it is that you want to do and make it happen. And the earlier you can do it, the easier it's going to be on you later in life. And even when you eat, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a super popular thing to tell people, but that's kind of how I look at it. It's not society's job to pay for your mistakes, you know, whether that's through college, through employers having to hire you and learn that you're not a very good employee. People that do things that they really like, that they're really proud of, are fantastic hires. That's what I've seen in my life. People that don't like what they do, you can see it right off the bat. They're just looking for a paycheck. They got nothing else to do. They have no idea what they want to do. It's very difficult to get those people to be happy about what they do, to be excited about what it is they want to do. I found that people that will work for nothing right off the bat are the best hires ever. You know. So anyway, I don't know if that's helpful or not. It's kind of a little rant. But anyway, not gonna be a super long talk today. I think that, again, it's just if you can get something going on your side, you know, get a website, learn a skill, learn a little bit about marketing, and get your stuff listed on your website. You know, put it on Facebook Marketplace, learn about sites like Cherish, learn about sites like 1stDibs, learn about sites like Pinterest, and get your product out there, get eyeballs on it. Do it now, because in a year or two, if things, you know, get a little more difficult, you're gonna be way ahead of everybody else. Because the truth is that when times get hard, suddenly everybody's a furniture maker. Suddenly everybody's a work from home expert. Suddenly everybody can do whatever they need to do to make money, and you want to be ahead of all those people, you know. So anyway, I appreciate everyone you know, hanging out for the talk today, and we have my talk tomorrow. I don't think I've put anything out there. I'm trying to schedule things, you know, so I'll come up with something to talk about tomorrow. I need to think about exactly what that's going to be. Friday, I'll show everyone what's in the shop. We'll run through the shop and see all the furniture, the paint stuff, the stain stuff. I got a lot of crazy work coming down the pipeline. If you're still here watching, I got a client that needs me to go to New Jersey, so probably going to fly out to New Jersey and look at making them a really cool kitchen. So that's one really cool thing. That's again a super client, someone who spent a lot of money with me. But again, it's led into other projects, you know. And then I've got other people that need a bunch of work in other cities here outside of St. Louis. I got a bunch of projects for them that are all custom projects, which for me is, I do a lot of custom work, but it's generally painted work. Whereas now I've got a ton of stained work. So now we got to make things out of. We got crotch mahogany projects. The crotch mahogany is $1,800 a sheet. I mean, very expensive. Should be very cool. I got a big sideboard and a big buffet that I have to do for that project. I got big dining room tables that we got to make out of walnut. You know, neoclassical foyer tables, like 48-inch round neoclassical with gilded legs. You know, a lot of really cool projects going up. Got that going. I got people that want big, massive faux bamboo china cabinets, right? So we're kind of known as people that make china cabinets these days, and that's been a great thing for us. So yeah, if you could do that, that's a good thing. Be different, you know. Everybody's making those fucking tables, the river tables, the epoxy tables, and that's basically the new live edge. You know, everyone's doing the live edge thing forever, and now it's the river table. You know, so be different. Make something different. You know, paint some furniture. You know, make a piece of furniture that's not made anymore. You know, big china cabinets with crazy fretwork. Nobody's making them because they're too difficult. They're too hard to ship. And honestly, guys don't like the kind of stuff. They kind of think it's kind of femmy, you know. So do something different, man. It's a great way to get off the ground a little bit faster than other people when you do something that is different and you're open to trying new things, you know, put some metal in your woodwork, you know, try a little carbon fiber, you know, try a little clear coat, you know, try you know, learning how to wet sand, polish and buff and do all these kind of things, and it will help to bring you further along in your goals as a woodworker or a painter or whatever it is you want to do than what everybody else is doing, you know. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it's good for people to hear, like I said, a perspective from someone who actually does the work, as opposed to someone who's trying to sell you something, you know. So I've got theresplendidcrow.com. You can go buy our furniture online. We'll make you furniture. I'm not selling you courses, not selling you boner pills or BetterHelp ads or any of that stuff. No knives, no t-shirts. Just furniture, you know, and talking about business and all that good stuff. So hope everyone has a great day, and we'll do it again tomorrow. And I'll put up a comment, or I'll put up my next topic and let you guys know.